Hi there, and welcome to the Immersion Wave. I'm your host, Alex McDermott, and I'm sure many of you at home are joining today to learn a bit about Castrol's journey into immersion cooling. And who better to ask than Head of Global Partnerships and Business Development Director, Miguel Navarro. Welcome, Miguel. How are you doing?
Hi, Alex. I'm doing very well. Thank you for inviting me to participate in this podcast. So very excited about it.
Well, we're very excited to have you. Today, we're going to be diving into Castrol's immersion cooling journey, our validation process at our Submer labs, and we'll hopefully get to know a bit about you along the way as well. So firstly, I'd like to ask you, what led you to work at Castrol, or what motivated you to get to the position you are in today?
Well, that's a very good question. I must confess that I've been working at BP, that, as you know, is the parent company of Castrol, all my career. So I'm a chemical engineer by trade. When I finished my studies, I had a very good opportunity to start working in this company. And since then, I've been holding different roles and positions. In the last 10, 12 years of my career at BP, I've been working with global accounts and strategic accounts. And that's been eventually taking me to the position that I'm managing at the moment.
And what does your day-to-day consist of now?
Well, I have mostly two key areas. One is developing partnerships, global partnerships for Castrol within the thermal management market. And the other one is also managing a team made of, 5, 6, 7 business development managers that are basically, accelerating the adoption of liquid cooling solutions from Castrol worldwide.
And so I think that covers a bit of your journey into Castrol. What was it that motivated Castrol to get started with immersion cooling?
It's a very good question. So not everybody knows that, but Castrol has been in thermal management for ages. And we've been helping a lot the car manufacturing industry to transition from the traditional combustion engines to the electrical ones. With electrical vehicles, one of the main hazards is managing the battery because it gets hot very quickly, and therefore you need to thermal management that situation. We've been developing specific dielectric coolants, non-conductive ones, in order to support the industry, the car manufacturing industry. And this is basically very similar to the immersion cooling application that, companies such as Submer you are working on. So this is the connection, the link between why we are here.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of challenges were you seeing in the data center industry that you wanted to answer by coming into the immersion cooling space?
Yeah, I guess that there are many challenges, but the ones that I think that are mostly related to the piece of work that we are trying to achieve is the increase of the workload densities of the systems. So semiconductors or chips with higher GDP. So this is definitely one. The other one is access to power and optimization of the power consumption. And last but not least, the need to get a much more, environmentally friendly operation. So these three challenges are the three that we are trying to tackle.
So Miguel, could you please explain what role fluid has to play in getting the best performance of your IT hardware?
Sure. So, the IT hardware up to now has been, mostly using a very sophisticated air cooling systems in order to dissipate the heat. However, it has reached a kind of technical limitation, and therefore a liquid can dissipate that heat in a much more efficient way. This is what our fluid is contributing to. We are developing fluids that are, improving the thermal conductivity of the system without having any issue because of the presence of the electrons. So that's what we do. That's how we are contributing to the success of the liquid cooling solution.
And I think you've covered quite well what motivated you to get into immersion cooling. Is there anything else you'd like to mention on what motivated you to create your own fluid specifically?
Yeah. We are eventually leveraging all the technical expertise that we have developed for many, many years, working with some other key industrial players. And something that we are specifically good at is not only co-engineering and developing specific fluids in order to enhance the performance, but also making sure that our fluids are fully compatible with all the different materials that the fluid is in contact with. So these two factors are making our fluid like a very good choice for the final user.
So throughout the process of creating your own immersion cooling fluid, did you hit any challenges along the way?
Yes. Creating a new dielectric coolant could be a bit tricky and could be challenging. In our case, we are mostly focusing on leveraging the expertise that we have developed over the years, working with other key industrial partners. And the main two challenges is probably getting a fluid that is fully compatible with all the different components that are part of the IT hardware ecosystem, and at the same time improving the performance of the system, both from an energy efficiency point of view as well as from a thermal conductivity point of view.
I would like to explore the properties of your fluid a bit deeper.
Yeah.
I know the first one you had outlined was low viscosity. Can you explain why low viscosity is important or why that would be an asset?
Absolutely. So our product range is been focusing on low viscosity fluids. And we truly believe that this is the right technology to deploy because it's improving the energy efficiency of the systems overall. The lower the viscosity, the less friction, and therefore the less power that is required to move the fluid across the system. So this is one of the key properties. Together with that, we are also focusing on higher thermal conductivity. And again, when you get a very, very high quality fluid, the lower the viscosity, the more flow that you get using the same system, and therefore the larger dissipation of the heat that is generated. So this is why our low viscosity fluids are supporting the performance of the systems.
So another very important property would be the electrical characteristics, which is maybe where people have the most fear around with immersion and putting their expensive IT into our tanks. So can you explain what electrical characteristics your fluid has?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the most important characteristics of our fluid is to get, the lowest dielectric constant as possible. And, if you think about the benefits of choosing a fluid instead of air, or a liquid instead of air, better said, water could be the obvious solution because, water has a fantastic thermal conductivity properties. However, it doesn't get along very well with the electrons. Yeah. And we know that the IT hardware is plenty of electronic components. And our fluid is, in intrinsic contact with each one of them. This is why we need to develop fluids that has such a low dielectric constant. So this is the reason why. Water will create failure, a lot of mistakes, and the same would apply to a fluid that doesn't have such an important property.
And another big one would be the fluid stability. Could you explain how you test for this and why this would be important for the industry?
Absolutely. Well, once you get the desired specifications or properties within a fluid, you want to keep them for as long as possible. We know that systems, they are very, very costly, and therefore you need to protect those systems. In order to do so, we focus on not only bringing the highest quality as possible, but also making sure that the molecular structure is stable enough in order to last for as long as possible. We typically say that, our fluids, and we take also the precaution or the awareness of checking the properties from time to time, just to make sure everything is fine. But we used to say that the last of our fluids will be at least as long as the systems. Could be longer than that, but at least as long as the life cycle of the system.
So linked to what you were saying about ensuring that the fluid lasts as long as possible, sustainability is something that both Castrol and Submer speak about a lot. Could you explain how the Castrol ON fluid is helping data centers to be more sustainable?
Absolutely. So, the immersion cooling solution per se is already helping the data centers to become more sustainable and, basically reducing the CO2 emissions. And the reason why is because of the electricity consumption, the power consumption, therefore is much, much lower. The fluid, being such an important part of the ecosystem, needs to be also as sustainable as possible. So there are 2 or 3 things that are very important for us. First one is making sure that we can get access to the fluid when it's not in use anymore, and basically collect the fluid and recycle so it can be used back again into the same or in a similar situation application. So this is one of the ways that we are having or that we are implementing in order to make our fluid more sustainable. On top of that, and this is something that I'm very proud to say that we are co-engineering and co-developing with Submer, we are investing a lot of effort developing fluids with bio-based raw material in order to make our fluid with net zero carbon footprint and improving the sustainability of this data center operation. So it's both routes, the ones that we are taking.
So what would you say is it that makes your fluid different from the variety of fluids that we have on the market today?
So I think that something that we have different in our product range or product portfolio is our aim to get a very, very low viscosity with a still very good properties like flash point or dielectric constant or even thermal conductivity, but focusing on bringing energy efficiencies. This is one. And there is another one that I think that is also very, very important, is that, we as BP Castrol, we have global reach with global manufacturing facilities that are guaranteeing to our partners and customers that we can maintain the same level of quality all over the world.
And I wanted to ask you if there was anything you found surprising when you started working with immersion cooling fluids?
That's a very good question. So coming from the car manufacturing industry, I think that definitely yes. So we were used to work with very, very large corporations with, years and years of experience bringing new products into the market. And therefore, big elephants, if you wish, where things normally are moving slowly. With immersion cooling, I am so happy to be exposed to work with smaller companies with a startup mentality and really willing to make things happen very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. So speed to market, that's probably the main thing that I have experienced being completely different.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yep.
And you also mentioned the co-development that we have between Castrol and Submer.
Yeah.
Could you give us an overview of what that process looks like?
Well, I cannot reveal too much information because, we are still finalizing it, but it's all about making sure that, your systems together with our fluids, they are, improving the performance of the existing solutions, that they can be even easily adapted or easier adapted by the data centers, and that they are contributing to make a better world.
So I guess this speed to market was something you found out along the way. What was it that motivated you to work with Submer right in the beginning? What made you choose us?
That's a very good question. So we met Submer when we were basically figuring out if we could contribute into the data center industry with the expertise and experience that we develop in thermal management fluid applications. And well, we met Submer, and we realized that, well, you were very well advanced with regards to any immersion cooling solution that the market was demanding for. And therefore, we started to talk each other. You have brilliant people within your team, and thanks to this partnership, this collaboration, that has been helping us to accelerate our entry into the market, therefore.
I know that you were working very closely with our labs team, with people like Peter Cooper.
Yeah.
Why was the validation process important for you guys?
Well, the validation is absolutely critical because we had expertise already, as I said before, with fluids for thermal management applications, but not specifically for IT systems and data centers. Therefore, what we learned from Peter is what were the key tests and the key processes that we needed to conduct in order to make sure that our fluid was, well, the best one as we could formulate it. And, well, working with Peter and with Submer, overall, we learned a lot, and we were in a much better position.
And how did the testing process ensure things like reliability and top performance?
Yeah. So every time that you are fully immersing whatever IT system into a fluid, you want to be 100% sure that everything is going to be right and that it's going to last forever or for as long as possible. So, well, understanding that this is the case, that we can predict well in advance that it's going to be fully compatible, this is critical. And by doing that, by the way, that will help us also to optimize some of the key properties of the fluids. So this is two main benefits that we are getting out of this validation process.
And was there anything unique about the validation process with Submer that stuck out to you?
Well, probably something that was unique is understanding that some of the key components that are going, well, in immersion tank environment, and also with regards to the IT hardware that is immersing into that ecosystem, it was critical for us. Because with some of these materials, or if we never worked before, or we have limited experience. So that was probably the key, let's say, findings out of the process.
And so enough about our labs. I wanted to ask you guys about your headquarters specifically. I understand in Pangbourne, you have a new testing facility set up.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about the purpose of those facilities?
Absolutely. So our new research and development center to support data centers is located in a small village called Pangbourne, not far from Reading in UK. It's like less than 1 hour from Heathrow Airport. And, well, we used to get these facilities fully dedicated or almost fully dedicated to car manufacturers. However, as the car manufacturers has been transitioning to electric vehicles, well, we had some available space to dedicate to something else. And this is why, well, data centers now are occupying most of that new facilities, just to make sure that we can, well, conduct a lot of testing, lot of investigation, development to support the industry going forward.
What kind of data or insights are you looking for specifically in that sense?
Yeah, we are looking for 3 main sets of data. First one is fully dedicated to fluids. So we are developing new fluids, and we are testing their performance and what are the advantages versus any other existing fluid, including some fluids from the competition. We are also testing material compatibility of our fluids versus new IT systems or new equipment that is being developed and brought into the market. And last but not least, we have also a dedicated area for research and future products. And this is very important because we recognize that, well, we need to bring not only better performance fluids, but also more sustainable with regards to, well, how they can contribute positively to the environment. And this is the 3 features or main areas that we are covering in Pangbourne.
I understand that one of them is also a Submer megapod, right?
Yeah.
Set up outside with a couple of smart pods.
Alex, I can tell you that nowadays the Submer megapod is the most visited area within Pangbourne. Well, from data center key players, but also some of the companies that, well, they are just curious about it. And we have, well, guided tours ended up in the megapod. We are showcasing, well, 2 tanks from Submer megapod. And, well, we are also testing 2 of our fluids in this environment against different servo OEM switches and some other equipment.
I'm happy to hear it's so popular.
Oh, yeah, it's very, very popular.
What would you say has been the biggest achievement so far in your testing facilities? That's a big question, but...
Well, believe it or not, we inaugurated our research and development center just 3 or 4 months ago. And, well, getting systems from some other companies being installed, adapted so they can work in these, well, facilities, that's been a big challenge. But we are very, very lucky to get a fantastic team of technologists. And they are the ones that they are basically taking care, being educated, and, well, basically running all those systems.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of testing and new products, I understand that we have been working together, particularly our R&D director, Mark Miyoshi, on an AI Immersion Demonstrator. Is there anything you can reveal about this project today?
Well, what I can say about it, and I cannot disclose too much, is that, well, artificial intelligence, obviously, it's like a key trend in our industry. Well, many companies, they are now, well, figuring out how they are going to adapt this new technology. And, well, immersion cooling is going to play a key part supporting it. So what we are doing is basically developing together something to match that requirement and to be able to support the AI adoption going forward. More will come very, very soon, so stay tuned.
Do you know where this piece will be revealed?
Well, I heard that there is a big event happening in San Jose, California, a OCP global event, and, well, probably we will be hearing more news about it.
Exciting. So as well as these R&D projects and these constant testing processes, how would you say Castrol is accelerating the adoption of immersion cooling globally?
Yeah. Well, I think that a very good example of that is, well, our partnership with Submer, where we are basically supporting each other, going to marketing events worldwide, allocating funds and budget in order to support not only marketing events and participation in joint customer activities, but also technology development. So we are, well, doing our effort in order to, well, facilitate market entrance and also developing, well, features and products that are, well, performing even better, if I may say that.
And how do you see the immersion cooling market evolving over the next few years? What are your predictions?
Well, it's a growing market, no doubt about it. Something that I always share with people that is interested about it is that it's going to be acceleration based on regional, probably, situation, moving slightly differently. So our guess is that, well, less developed markets, they will be adopting immersion cooling even faster. Reason why is because there is no legacy of existing facilities, and therefore adopting the technology is like a no-brainer. However, developer markets, they will adopt it as well, probably at a, let's say, slower pace, but it's happening. So just to summarize, yeah, it's a global growth, but probably we will see it happening earlier in some regions than in others.
And on that note, what advice would you give to companies that are thinking about immersion cooling and are still not 100% convinced?
Well, I think 2 pieces of advice, if I may say that. One is try to get close with companies that they've been, doing their bit, and they have, obviously gain reputation in the market, such as Submer, I would say, such as ourselves. And the second one is, you don't need to go big. I mean, you can start by implementing immersion cooling systems into your facilities, just to test and learn how it works. That will give you the confidence to make further decision when the time arrives. But at least try to start testing it and learning about it, because otherwise you may regret it afterwards.
Mm-hmm. And explore hybrid options and these kind of things.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Miguel.
You're very welcome.
My last question is a personal one to end the podcast. Since we're on the topic of cooling, is there something that you do to cool down and relax in your spare time outside of the office?
Well, I do. I have like two main hobbies, and they are quite different. So I love cycling. Mm-hmm. So at weekends, I have a very good group of friends, and we try to cycle together for good period of time, if my fitness allow me to do so. And my second hobby is relaxing at the beach. Mm-hmm. So I live near the beach, the Mediterranean Sea, which is fantastic. And I try to spend, especially in summertime, as much time as I can by the sea.
Sounds lovely. Well,
thank you.
It's been a pleasure to speak to you today. And if you'd like to find out more about Submer and Castrol, you can keep up to date with us on our social media channels. And as Miguel mentioned earlier, we do have a few events coming up together, such as OCP and supercomputing. So we would love to meet you in person. Thank you so much, and see you next time.